Smoking, hoping that you come back to your senses. You said you all in, don't know if you meant it. Yeah, girl, I know you think you one of a kind, but dealing with all of this money on my mind, yeah. Forever feeling like I'm running out of time.
My name is Y.Jones and this is HeadphoneHightLight, and I am here with Rook. Not only is he an artist, but a videographer who has shot some of the biggest names in hip hop to date. To name a few: Rick Ross, Dave East, A Boogie with the Hoodie, Rob Markman, and NBA Youngboy, to name a few. But today he is here to put the stamp in approval on his new project, Shoot to Kill, by inviting you to turn up the volume in his headphones. We all know that there's a who, what, when, and why, but today we are going to find out who the artist is behind headphones. First and foremost, congratulations on your project, Shoot to Kill.
Thank you.
I think it's phenomenal that who sits behind me and in front of me is the artist, Rook, and not the videographer. So tell me how it is breaking out of your shell. Tell me a little bit about who you are as an artist and your sound.
Yes, I mean, it's funny because I actually kind of started as an artist. Like when I was in college, and I actually, right out of college, I had gotten signed to like a little independent label while I was in Florida.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, not a lot of people. It was something that.
This is new shit.
Yeah, it was a local thing in Florida, and I was on the radio doing club shows, stuff like that out there. And while doing that, I was just getting out of film school, so I was always into film.
Mm-hmm.
And but the artist thing kind of came up first as far as a profession, and so it didn't end up working out with them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I ended up coming back to Connecticut in 2013, and kind of having to like rebuild everything.
Wow.
And that was when I really like started building the foundation of the videos and the production company, and
Absolutely.
just finding clients and things like that to work with. And then coming back, I guess coming back out as an artist, it was cool because it was kind of like. A lot of people didn't know, and a lot of people, especially up north, they knew me as just a video guy because,
Absolutely.
to their defense, I didn't really promote myself yet as an artist.
Absolutely.
Because I just didn't have, or what I felt, I didn't have the resources, and then I kind of was just trying to find myself musically and just how I wanted to, present myself. So now it's dope because I got all the the last 3-4 years spent shooting a lot of artists.
Mm-hmm.
It still kept me in touch with what was going on musically,
exactly.
the culture, what was happening. So I was able to just kind of like soak it up, learn. I was still recording all the time, just, I would throw little things out here and there, but it really wasn't anything, crazy.
You weren't ambitious about it yet.
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out my plan, and like I said too, just figure out like my production and how I wanted to sound, and I was listening to kind of all the things that were coming out. And so then, like, I think 2016 was like when I kind of first started just putting stuff back out. And yeah, it's been dope. It's cool because a lot of people, they're just like, what?
Exactly. The response. I was going to ask you, with your client base being so large now, working with so many artists in the industry, outside the industry, independent artists, what were some of the responses that you received when they found out that you were releasing music seriously?
I mean, it's pretty much all been good so far. Like Dizza was one of the first people. Like, I've always been real cool with him.
Absolutely.
And so and he was one of the first people I started working with as a video dude. And there was a couple people that he was cool with in New York and Harlem, like some just people that have been in the game for a while that knew that I rap, and so they kind of told him without me being there. Yeah, and so he hit me one day just like, yo. I heard you rapping. What is this about? Let me hear something. And so, I ended up, I was nervous. I'm like, oh man, because you never wanted to make the relationship weird, between that. So, but nah, it ended up being all good with pretty much everybody I work. Well, everybody I work with, and I don't expect everybody to fully be, be into it, but at least if they can respect what I'm doing and. It doesn't cause any conflict there, then I'm cool. But
what I thought was really dope is you had started working with Rob Markman, and everyone knows that he is a journalist.
Yeah.
Very popular journalist. So for him to shout you out on Twitter the way that he did, it actually gave me perspective that, even though that you are respected in your fields and he's respected as a journalist, you know, for you guys to come out that shell, regardless
Right.
if you were doing it first or not, for you guys to actually come out that shell and for him to, you know, take the time out to say and embrace someone else
I mean,
was really
he's-
dope to me because, you know, it's like your music is so dope, but if you, like, you know, you looking in, outside in, it's just
Yeah.
like, he raps and then shoot videos, it's like,
Yeah.
you know. So I like the fact that you were limitless because you went, you know, with being behind the scenes, capturing video, and now being in front of the camera, getting
Right.
captured. So it's like this, how do you feel about that? You know, do you
I-
get nervous still?
I mean,
Like-
I kind of like I don't get nervous because I kind of went when I was down in Florida doing all that. I kind of went through being like just an artist. Like I had a deal. I lived in a house with a studio where all I did was just rap. That's all I had to do. So, and you know, I had like the little local success or whatever. So I kind of, you know, I got a lot of just experience of being an artist there. So when I got back, and it kind of allowed me to more, like, be a little more strategic about it, not just like,
I'm
I want
popping
to
out,
rap.
popping out, exactly.
Yeah, like, it was just like,
I'm
all right,
popping
how do I
out
want to
today.
do this? With Rob, it was cool too because when you know, because when I was shooting his video, a lot of people didn't know he rapped, so I couldn't tell anybody I was doing the video. I heard the songs first and stuff.
Wow.
So and I didn't realize, I was like, oh damn, nobody really even knows about this yet. But so we ended up talking and having a conversation. It was cool because I was kind of on the same wave as far as like his whole right to dream, where it's like, you know, you don't have to just necessarily be boxing to do one thing. And so I think he connected with me on that level as far as just like, if you're dope at both things, why
both
not?
things, why
And they
not
both
do
go
it?
together, you
Why
know,
not
like
do
even
it?
directing, it's like, artists appreciate now that they know I'm an artist because they know I'm kind of looking out for their best interests.
Because you
From
see it
an artist
exactly
perspective
from
too,
artist
like to
perspective.
make sure they don't look whack on camera, you know what I mean? And so yeah, nah, it works. The hard thing is just trying to be really good at both, and you know, there's people out there that all they do is rap all day, be an artist. So
Yeah,
now
'cause you hustle.
I gotta go back and forth, you know what I mean? So that's where the challenge really comes in.
Exactly.
I can't put all my effort into one thing.
Because you still have a business to run.
Right.
Now, with your project, Shoot to Kill, which is a very interesting title, what was the inspiration behind it? Was it something that happened? Because even the artwork on, you know, the front of the cover is like, oh shit, like this girl standing here, and you know, you were very aggressive toward the end of the album, which I absolutely loved, and you pushed the agenda of Shoot to Kill more.
Right.
It seems like you mentioned it a little bit more. Was that something that, you know, you decided to do, or?
I think I mean, so all my projects, I always want to just keep branding something with an entendre with shooting or
Gotcha.
the film world,
Gotcha.
just to kind of keep
So it was
that
purposely.
alive. Yeah, for sure. Like I got to keep that because nobody's really done it. So, you know, I'm trying to really stamp that lane. You know what I mean?
Which
And
is
so,
respectable.
yeah. So, but you know the kind of meaning behind it, really just, you know, going for just going for it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like trying to make the best possible records that could go the furthest and the biggest. I think it kind of goes with my thing too. Is like me as an artist, I don't necessarily want to just be like the cool film kid who raps. Like I want to make big songs.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
You want to make them big billboard
yeah.
records.
So Shoot to Kill is kind of like, you know, going by that. And then I don't know if I necessarily planned it to
Because you
be
seem
more
like a real
aggressive.
strategic person. So I'm just like,
At the end, what's at the end? Like In and Out.
In and Out is one of
yeah,
my favorite.
yeah.
I don't even, wait, we gotta save that.
Yeah, so yeah. I mean, I think it was just the flow of the. You know, I sat down with the producer and we kind of just flowed the whole project out, and that's just kind of how it all, you know, seems to go best.
Okay. Now with you mentioning earlier that you had a deal in the beginning, and now you're independent. What is the difference between the two for you? Like, do you feel more freedom?
Yeah, I think for me, it all depends on what type of artist you are. So like for me, when I was signed, you know, I didn't have like this big elaborate crazy deal either, but I had a straight deal. And
It wasn't no 360, was it?
it was a 360
Oh,
deal,
Jesus.
yeah,
Okay.
which
Okay.
I'm out of.
Exactly.
But yeah, it was. So at the time, I was just coming out of college.
Exactly.
I was more on like a party, like Asher Roth type thing.
Shit.
I was throwing parties, so it was just
shit.
like, yeah, all right. So the difference for me was that I just realized I was bringing everything to the table but the money. So it was like I had the fan base, I had the connects to certain things to the venues. I was out passing out this. I was doing.
So you
promo.
were doing all the footwork.
So it was kind of like, yeah, it was like, all right, and then it would get to a point where it's like, now if they don't want to do something, now I'm held back by what they're doing, or if they feel a certain type of way, like, and it just kind of like gave me less control, and I just kind of, it was cool that everything was provided for me, but I didn't necessarily have my own.
What you needed.
And I just didn't necessarily have my own. If I wanted to go do things
Absolutely,
myself, it was like,
exactly.
if it was something for the music, cool, it's paid for, but if not, hey. So,
It's like you asked out.
yeah, and so I always had my own money my whole life, so it just gave me a weird, I just didn't like
a
it.
bitter taste in your
It
mouth.
was just kind of weird, and so, but some people, they just like just being an artist. They like everything just being taken care of. I just want to record.
Well, you're independent.
And so,
that's why
for
you're
me now,
independent.
it now allows me to just, just have control of everything.
Now,
And
do you feel like it's more of it's less responsibility as far as like having to answer to someone, or do you didn't like the people writing your back about certain things that you want to do creatively, or is it just the fact that you wanted to be your own boss, actually build your empire from the very beginning?
yeah, I think I was actually trying to move faster than what they were trying
Okay,
to do. So I was trying to go harder, and it was like they were kind of cool with.
No, we're fine with how it is.
Yeah, and it was kind of like, all right, so I think for me it just allows me to move at the pace I want to move at, or do things even if they don't work, but at least I could try them myself. And it just allows me to move at the pace. It's probably more responsibility because it's like,
Everything
even though I have a team, it's still, I'm still coming up with the creative process, planning the rollouts, planning how we're gonna do this,
Absolutely.
building the, a lot of my connects and relationships come through what I'm doing on the video end. So, those are all people that I just maintain those relationships and deal with them. So it's more responsibility, but it's more control and freedom
For
too,
you.
which is good.
Which is what everyone should
Yeah,
for.
yeah, exactly.
Now, with your project, Shoot the Kid, what I found more unique than anything is the fact that you chose one producer to produce your actual whole project.
Yeah.
And you don't see that a lot anymore, especially with the artists nowadays.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about why you chose Rich I Am as the producer.
I think it was just we just caught a vibe. I mean, he came through. He had some. It was the first producer I worked with that he wasn't really into like sending beats. He would rather just sit in front of me and just
A real producer.
and make it. So it was like it was cool. I never really did that before. Like I always just kind of got the beat, did it. So there was just a whole new experience for me.
He actually produced you.
Yeah, and he would
That
sit
was
there and
dope.
make it, and then I would put my input, and we would kind of put the record together, and we did that the whole EP in probably, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 sessions. Like we knocked it out real fast. Like we would just be in here all night, just putting everything together. And yeah, it was
4
cool.
or 5 days?
It was like it was like an experiment for me too, and it was kind of like. Moving Pictures, which Moving Pictures 2 is going to be the next thing to come out. That's more of like me working with the people I work with on the video end. So you'll see like a lot of the features will come through. A lot of the people
Because I seen it wasn't big features.
Yeah, a lot of the people
which
that
I like though.
Right, so Shoot to Kill was kind of more just my
Absolutely, it's an
kind of more
introduction
my
to
style,
who Rook is,
So the next project you'll see like all the latest people I've been working with video wise. You'll see all them on there.
Oh, wow.
Like, and so a lot of them, as long as they cool with it, they'll throw me a verse and we'll be able to work on a song, which is always cool. So it's just a different style, and I just thought it just worked out for that project. We were able to keep that one sound, and it just kind of stayed in that same palette
range.
or whatever.
He was able to produce, you being aggressive, you being more, about the women, or you talking about who you are, just period as a person. So I thought it was really dope for you to stick with that one producer. I thought that was a phenomenal choice that you did, especially with introducing who you are. So you're very welcome. I was listening to the project, and I'm like, yo, he got this melody about him. It's very inviting, especially to women, because we all know that if women do not like your records, they will not sell. So is that something, your melody, did it progress over time, or was that just, that's really who you are, and that's what your sound is?
Yeah, I think that's more my sound. I like doing that with just adding some type of melodic, feel to it. And I think too, for me, I can go a lot of different directions with it, but I think, if the beats stay in that pocket, then I'm more able to like express that.
Finesse that.
Yeah. So the production kind of leads me a lot. So with the beats he was making, it just allowed me to kind of like do it more. But that's more my style. But I like to rap too. So it's like I don't necessarily.
You've seen both. Both worlds collide.
Yeah.
Shoot to kill, and that's what I liked about it is you didn't leave anything out.
Mm-hmm.
Like if someone had questioned about your rap ability or can he talk to the women or
right.
Can he be like real aggressive on a record? Like you gave it all. So I was just like, this project is really you shot your shot.
Hey, I'm going for it.
Yeah, you did your thing. You had some samples of Rick Ross' voice and back music. Is there something brewing with the label? Maybe you signed it, or like is this on a hush? Because I'm like, damn, like this is a couple of. I hear Rick Ross' voice here. I'm like, okay.
I mean, those are my peoples. I like there's, we cool. Yeah, we cool. We working. So I'm gonna be working with them again real soon. I got a couple things on the way.
That's what's up.
Musically. I don't know. I'd have to even think about that as an artist if that's where I'd want to go with it.
Okay.
I could see myself more over there as like just a director. I think that would be dope.
I think that's really dope.
But as an artist, I'm still not sure. I still want to kind of build out
who you are,
more of my fans and kind of see who that is a little bit more.
It's definitely women.
Yeah. I mean that's.
I'm gonna say it's what you.
I'll take all the Spanish women.
Which I see. You're really into Spanish women. You mentioned. Dominicans, you mentioned Colombians.
Yeah.
Like, what is it with you in Puerto Ricans and Dominicans? Like, that's just your weakness.
Yeah, I think living in Florida for a while it just did
it with you.
Yeah.
So, are you more of an ass man or a breast man?
Yeah, nah, ass for sure.
Definitely. Listen, ladies.
Definitely.
The record Andale, I really, really enjoyed because you really got out of the box and you talked about like the ups and downs and like the pulls and the the withdrawals from people. You being in Miami, dealing with a lot of big asses, seeing them everywhere and whatnot. What exactly would you say with you at being an artist and a videographer and you having so much time but yet so much not to be able to give here and there?
Right.
What would you say about your relationship status? Like, do you think that it's best to not really indulge in it? Because though it was an up-tempo type of record, it was very deep. I'm just like, this shit is crazy. Like,
it has some content.
It was very relatable, but from your point of view, being that you're a boss, you're very independent, you own a lot of things of your own and you built from the top. And there's women that come in and out, they see success, they see you building from the, it's like I gotta close to my audience. So how is it, how do you deal with that? Because,
it goes, it's man, that's one of the ones I haven't figured out, to be honest. I just be so into what's going on and where I'm trying to go with things. That's always kind of falling down on my list, and that's probably why it causes a lot of friction, because girls don't like that. You know what I mean? So, I definitely come across females that I like to be around, but it becomes a problem when the time comes into it, and like spending time with them and just regular shit that a regular boyfriend would do.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's just, and being in this industry is tough just in general to defend myself, because it's like, the situations I'm in, it just causes arguments. Even if the girl is the coolest possible female, it's going to be hard for her to understand if I'm shooting a music video and
2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, and I'm in the city and I'm here, I'm there, I'm flying, I'm going, so it's just one of them things that, I kind of just got to hope that the right person understands it, comes along and, and it'll work out. But, a lot of that was coming from places where it's like I try to jump into something and then realizing that
wasn't gonna work.
I wasn't. It's just like what'll happen is I'll be like, I'll be into it, and then business will happen, things will happen, and then that kind of gets, suppress, and then it ends up just blowing up into a whole big thing, and then
And it's like, why did I even bother?
Right. But I keep it cool. Like I don't have any bad blood with any
That's
female.
good. At least
so
that you know that not to
I try to
bad
keep
blood.
it very honest with them. So that's about my only.
Now this record, In and Out, was one of my favorites on that album, on the project. What inspired you to have a feature for that one? Because all the other ones was just like Rook. And then it's like I got to this one, I'm like, wait a minute, there's another voice on here. So it's just like, what was it that you wanted to add another element?
He was on the label with me in Florida, Easy. So he's from New Jersey.
Okay.
Me and him been through
Some shit
all
together,
type of
really?
shit. Yeah. So he lives in New Jersey, and it's just my guy. You know what I mean? I heard the record and he's dope. And it was just like, if I'm gonna put a feature on it, it's just gonna be him. And then that was just, I just felt like that was enough. I didn't.
Yeah,
really
it was just like I never seen you in that manner. So
Yeah.
it's just like to hear you was like, if you want your bitch, you gotta get her back. You gotta come take her back. I'm like, oh shit, look, god damn it! Like I was like, this is dope. What was it like? Was it the fact that you were up there with someone who knew you and knew the experiences that you went through, so you were just like, fuck
I
it,
think it
like,
was a little
just-
reminiscent
Okay.
of
So the wildlife when you
flashback, a little Bel Air, a little mix of everything. I could do that all day. I just like I said too, it's a lot about the beat. When I heard that beat,
Absolutely.
that was just kind of what it
made you
what
feel,
it brought out.
up
So I probably struggle more with like when to edit myself, or when to so I kind of, all right, should I say this? All right, how am I gonna I try to at least be somewhat creative or tasteful with it a little bit. But
but I like that shit.
Yeah.
I was just
It's like it was just one of them records where I was like, yeah, fuck it.
Exactly.
So I think it gave it balance to it. It needed that. I think fourth quarter, that had a little, kind of more aggression to it, and then that one gave it a little more at the end, a little kick at the end.
Yeah, I played it for damn near everybody I was around, so I was just like, this shit is dope. And they were like, yo, this is a dope record, like, so I really appreciate you doing that because some artists, they like to stay in this. It's like, nah, I don't want to say that. I don't want, like you said, you edit yourself a lot. Like, it's like, I don't want to go that far. I want to, like, gradually, approach it. But you were just like, fuck this shit.
Right. Yeah, sometimes you just got to, fuck it.
Exactly.
That's the right you get as an artist, too, And the thing I learned, too, is, like, that doesn't necessarily represent, every songs might just be a moment how you felt for that moment. And, that's the thing I started learning too with being an artist, is like trying to because that song was actually inspired from like some shit that happened a while ago.
Yeah, what you said, it brought back some
memories. Yeah, so it was like I kind of like went back to a place of how I felt and then tried to like channel that again. You know what I mean? Yeah, and so but
now what was your outro, Dallas outro?
Yeah.
I really liked it. It was like one of those. Like if you're listening to a Drake album and it goes from that angle and it's just like that subtle, it just relaxes you.
Right.
What was that, about? Like, is that something that you just?
I wrote it in Dallas on what was it, 2017? I went out to Dallas probably like 4 or 5 times. I got a friend of mine, DJ Menace. He's on the radio out there. So the first time I went out there, it was just like so much love. Like I went out there, I did an interview on the biggest station in Dallas, which is like millions of listeners. They played my song. They had me out at the club, like shouting me out. So I'm like, damn, okay, shit. And so while I was out there, I just ended up finding people that wanted vids, and I ended up going back out there just like 4 or 5 times. I made some friends out there, and so it was just like cool. I was just out there on the roof. I was on the rooftop of my hotel, just chilling. I was like, I gotta write something, like. And so I just, just threw some thoughts down, and when he played that beat, I was like, yeah.
This is the one.
Yeah, I was waiting to like let those thoughts go anyway, so it was nice to, I think it just went perfect on there.
Now, why did you choose 8 tracks? Because the trend nowadays is like, Chris Brown went above and beyond. Exactly. So there's a lot of artists that, that's following that trend of like 16, 18, 25 records.
Yeah.
What made you like compact it to 8?
You know, for them, they're big enough to where people are already invested, so they're gonna listen through. I don't feel like I've really established my fan base yet. I think I have a lot of people that watch me and that know what I do, but they don't necessarily know my music like that. And so the 8 tracks is just enough.
That was a really good choice, though. And I'm
yeah,
glad that
it's
you
just
said
it's
that
just
because
enough
they
to where
don't-
it's like you could listen through. You might like 2 or 3 of the joints. You might put them on a playlist, and then you kind of. You might
You get
move
a feel.
on from it. Yeah, you get a
Yeah.
feel for who I am, and it's not like I feel like people get intimidated if they see something. It's like, damn, 20 tracks. Like, if I don't like the first 1 or 2, 8 tracks, you might skip around a little.
It's
and
like
see
you're
if you
forcing
like
them to make a
something.
decision from off those 2
Yeah,
tracks.
so it was enough to just, they're all good records. I also tried to like really keep it to like the best records, you know what I mean? And just, that was another thing with the Shoot to Kill. Like, I just tried to make every song like dope. Like, it wasn't one that I was like, I don't know, should this go on there? Like, those just didn't even go. So, so that's what's good about the EPs. I'm just gonna keep doing that, just to kind of just keep building people. Let them, just. I'd rather have people want more
Absolutely,
than
to embrace you and
to-
they feel like they got enough, and it's just like, I don't want any more of Rook.
in the time of it, like shit, recording a 20 joint album or whatever is like that requires a lot of my time.
Yeah.
So it's like for me to do all that to put it out, and then it might not get the exposure. Is like I'd rather just keep giving people the best in little pieces.
And little bits and pieces of who I am.
Right.
So are you going to do you plan on doing another? Because I heard you mention it just a few minutes ago. Do you plan on releasing another?
Yeah.
Okay.
More EPs. Probably. I'm trying. Don't quote me.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
I got a plan, but yeah. So I'm trying to do more, just basically EPs throughout the year.
Okay. So are you dropping any videos for any of the records? that are on?
Yeah.
Okay,
One of a kind video will probably happen. I like In and Out video will probably happen. Yeah. and possibly On Call. That was like probably my favorite one on there. So that might happen too. But definitely One of a Kind has been the one that everyone
likes.
Everyone's
that
been
record.
hitting me
Yeah,
about
I
that.
see that. I'm more of an aggressive person.
Yeah.
I like thug and rap.
Me too.
And God. So
I like it when I got. I like the more like
the more,
aggressive type stuff.
So I was just like, I just was so shocked the fact that you gave aggression. I was just like, he just seems like a real laid back dude. So when I heard it, I was just like, nah, this must be the featured dude. And then I'm like, no, this is really Rook. This shit is dope. Like, so I was just like really excited about.
There'll be more of that too. I
project.
got more of that.
I'm pretty sure you do
Yeah.
because I'm just like, he was very comfortable, with being this way. So I was just like, he must all around creative wise, you're like open to trying new things.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
hearing your voice and, accepting who you are.
Right.
Now with you being a videographer and an artist, would you ever just choose one to stick with?
Probably not. I mean, I could,
Because you did say you were branding this because
Right.
no one is shooting to kill. No one is actually shooting and doing artistry. So like,
Yeah, there's like I've seen a couple, people
I mean, they're
bouncing
tempted.
around,
They'll,
you know
yeah,
what I
but
mean?
it's not. They don't. Never, they always go back
Right.
to. But because you were an artist first, that's why I would ask. Like.
It would be tough. I don't think so. I think like how I see it happening is like it's probably like with my directing and stuff. It's just gonna be more select projects. Like I'll probably only be working with 1 to 2 artists and just working on like a big video, and then that video will probably take up the whole month or whatever.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And so that might be the only project. Whereas now I'm just still knocking videos out where it's not yeah. And so I got 5 videos I'm working on right now, but so it'll be more of like a selective thing. But yeah, I don't see myself picking. I mean, if the music thing weren't to work out, I mean, I would still record and drop music. You know what I mean? So I don't know if I'd ever. Right. So I would just do it just to do it. But yeah, they just go so well together, and like it just keeps me in the same space. Like when I'm editing or shooting or rapping or performing, it's all kind of me. You know what I mean? Not kind of. It's all me. And so it's all the same creative space. The business is where it gets where I gotta totally switch modes out of one world and go to a whole nother world, and you know what I mean, and think on a different. So yeah, I couldn't see myself dropping one of them. One might get more popular than the other at times, You know,
I mean, you have a right to drink.
Yeah.
So
right.
you have to do your
Exactly.
thing. I'm on Apple, Tidal.
I'm on everything.
So
So
you're on everything.
stream it.
So make sure you check Rook out. He's a dope artist, and I approve it.
Yo, what up? This is Rook. I need y'all to check me out on Spotify. You could just search ROOK. I got a project out there, Shoot to Kill, another EP called Moving Pictures. Check that out.